Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the graduates of Arlington High School's class of 2018. Perfect timing. Please rise for the presenting of the colors by the Arlington Police Department Honor Guard. please remain standing for the playing of our national anthem. Please be seated. Thank you to our bagpiper, Mr. Rob Egan, the honor guard, and our wonderful band conducted by Mr. Tino D'Agostino. Our senior band members who played for their classmates will now proceed to their seats. They are Evan Barker, Jackson Clayton, Max Custine, Amy Kniff, Julian Flesh, Nathaniel Heitman, Samuel Kim, Owen Kuklinski, Sarah Mangelli, Linnea McAllister, Keegan Mosley, Valeria Santangelo, Joel Slabonik, Alex Svensson, Kate Vitale, and Marina Wagner. Good afternoon. On behalf of our Superintendent of Schools, Kathy Bodie, our Principal, Matthew Janger, the school committee, and our entire administrative team and faculty, I am honored to welcome everyone to the graduation exercises for Arlington High School's class of 2018. To our parents, congrats. I'm trying to make it fast. To our parents, guardians, I know you are very proud of your sons and daughters today. And on behalf of every graduating student, I congratulate you, parents and guardians, and thank you for trusting us, the Arlington Public Schools, to educate your children. To our teachers, thank you for your outstanding work with this class. Each of you has been a mentor, motivator, leader, friend, caretaker, and much, much more. You have inspired students, and we are truly grateful to you. And most importantly, congratulations, class of 2018. Today we gather to honor you and celebrate your accomplishments. You have been a wonderful group of students to work with, and we all wish you a future that is filled with both success and happiness. And now to the speaking part of our program, I am honored to present to you our principal, Dr. Matthew Janger.
How do you like this weather, huh? Somewhere in here I have a speech. Welcome to the 2018 Arlington High School graduation. Congratulations to the Spy Ponder graduating class. We made it. Before I impart my usual TED Talk, I have 3 jobs. First, thank yous. I'd like to thank Ms. Began, who runs around in the months before this making sure everything comes off and has figured out all the logistics around this event. I'd like to thank Carolyn Simmons, my secretary, who pretty much makes the school run and keeps me from looking like an idiot. I'd like to thank Mr. McCarthy. I know she doesn't do that great a job all the time. Mr. McCarthy, Mr. DiLoretto, Ms. Tivnan, and Mr. McKnight, who will be speaking today, for keeping everything going, looking after each of the houses. I'd like to thank our Assistant Superintendent, Dr. McNeil, our School Committee Chair, Dr. Kiersey Allen-Ampe, Representative Sean Garbely, other representatives and dignitaries who are here from our school committee. And particularly, I'd like to thank the teachers and staff who've worked with you for the past 12 years, particularly those high school staff and other teachers here today. I'd also like to thank our facility staff who were here early setting up and will be here late tonight cleaning up. They're actually doing that every day of the year. Graduates, I'd also like to take a moment to thank everyone who's made today possible. So if you would please bear with me for a moment. Rise. Turn around. Take a look into those stands. Everyone take pictures, quick. Give a big round of applause to our families, friends, and community. We would not be here without them. All right, that's enough. Second, while you're sitting down, I'm going to do a little bit of obligatory bragging. We all of the time hear concerns about the direction of public education or kids nowadays. And I always make a point to remind folks that kids nowadays are doing better than we ever did back in our days. The quality of our schools, our teachers, and our students are amazing. So a little bit of information in international comparisons. If Massachusetts were a country, our performance would be ranked at the top. We'd be up there with systems like Norway, Finland, and Singapore, much less diverse, much less complex. Over the last 5 years within Massachusetts, Arlington has risen in rankings from 25 to 21 to 16 to 12, and we're now ranked 9th in the state. Now those test scores only mean what those test scores mean. They don't talk to the daily experience of the students and the learning that goes on here, but that's also something that's important to recognize. Lastly, oh yes, I said this, in spite of our tired halls, we produce a great education and wonderful students. Now the plug. Each year I comment on how we've overcome the leaky roofs, the sweltering rooms, the freezing hallways, the obstructed views, the falling plaster, the closed bathrooms, and other gifts of an aging building. This year, it's been exciting to see sketches and planning for a new building that will allow us to sustain the quality of education and the growing population of Arlington High School. If you're here now, or if you're going to be in town anytime soon, please join us on June 4th at 7 p.m. at Town Hall to learn more and to give your input. And now for the TED Talk. Don't worry, it's short. I'd like to talk a little bit about why graduation is important. It's important because you made it and because we made it here together. Remember this moment when we came together as a community and celebrated what you have achieved and what we have achieved together. Listen to the speeches today outlining the achievements of your class and your community. This class has experienced a great deal, and we've grown together. This class was the first class, I've said this before, where the Student Council and the Captain's Council came together to try to create an inclusive community. That doesn't mean we are an inclusive community, but it means that we've been striving together to achieve that goal and that vision. This class has experienced so much. We've had the death of friends, we've had bomb threats, we've had rising fear of school violence, we've had challenges of hate speech and conflict, both on and off social media. You have all worked to make the school more united and inclusive. We've made errors, we've had backslidings, we've had conflicts, but we are all here together. And that's important because every one of us has struggled at some point to get to this moment. Every one of us has experienced the 3 critics: shame, fear, and comparison. Remember this moment and realize that you can get through and find moments like this. And when things are going tough, remember that you will again. Take this moment to reflect on what you might do if you could silence the critics, or at least ignore them, and always do what you thought was best and right. Shame will tell you that you are not good enough. Who do you think you are? Fear will tell you what you're going to lose. It will make you picture the worst possible outcomes. Comparison will tell you that other people have it better. Other people did it better. You could have done it differently. They have the advantage. It's not fair, or it's not worth it. Those critics will never go away. If they're not inside you on any given day, they'll be all around you. All you can do is the best that you can. If they are not encouraging you to do your best, to try, or to do better, ignore them. Theodore Roosevelt said, and he went on for a long time, this is a short part of this quote, "It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man or woman or person who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming. Remember this graduation. In spite of everything you went through, that we went through, we are all here. Together, you will get through." Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Janger. It is my pleasure to present Hannah Alton, Secretary of the Class of 2018. Hannah will announce the Elementary School Faculty Awards of Appreciation.
Today, while we celebrate the class of 2018 and our completion of our high school career, we'd also like to recognize the teachers who helped us prepare for high school in the first place. Each year, students are asked to reflect on an elementary and middle school teacher who made a difference in their lives. Whether it was a moment in the classroom, a lesson that will never be forgotten, or a personality that lets the students know that they were seen and heard for who they are. These teachers were formally recognized on the awards ceremony on Thursday, but they deserve to be recognized again here today. The awardees are, from Bishop Elementary School, Jeannie Wall. From Brackett Elementary School, Colleen Gorman. From Dallin Elementary School, Christina Hughes. From Hardy Elementary School, Julie Harrington. From Pierce Elementary School, Jessica Karwowski. From Stratton Elementary School, Janelle Raschuti. From Thompson Elementary School, Katie Armstrong. And from Ottoson Middle School, Thomas Zirk. Thank you.
It is my pleasure to introduce Ms. Kiersey Allison Ampey, Chair of the Arlington School Committee.
Thank you for the introduction and for inviting me to this important event. I'm so happy to share in it. Congratulations, graduates. Congratulations, too, to your families and parents for you've helped them get here so far. One of my greatest joys as a school committee member has been getting to watch these students grow up. I've enjoyed seeing so many of them over the years at athletic events, in Ottoson musicals, singing in chorus, presenting at school committee. Like you, I've seen them go from child to adult. I want to thank our community for helping make their education possible. By supporting our schools so strongly over the years, you've enabled these students to grow and to thrive. Together, we've been able to add teachers and expand our high school offerings. Together, soon, I hope we work towards a new rebuilt high school, a building more worthy of its students and staff. I appreciate the work that has already been done by our community towards this project and look forward to its successful completion. I only wish it could have been done now so you could have reaped its benefits. Luckily, though, Our current facilities do not limit ability or purpose. Our teachers have given the students the means to succeed and then let them run with it. I was at awards night on Thursday. I saw how impressive this class is as individuals and as a group. I look forward to seeing where they choose to go. In closing, I have one wish for our students, that you will take the tools that we have given you and really use them, going out into the world to make your own success. From kindergarten on up, your teachers have sought to help you acquire the knowledge and skills that you might need in years to come. They have been filling your academic toolbox for years. Now it's your turn to use these tools and improve the world. The baseball player Willie Stargell once said, "That's where the future lies, in the youth of today." Graduates, that future would be you. Thank you again to everyone who has helped get you here, and congratulations, Spy Ponders.
Thank you, Ms. Allison Ampe. It is my pleasure to introduce Arlington's Assistant Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Roderick McNeil, Jr.
And of course, as soon as I come up, the rain starts. But good afternoon, staff, parents, and family members who have traveled from great distances to be with us here today. And good afternoon to the graduating class of 2018. Congratulations on achieving a very important milestone. My job is to highlight the accomplishments of this distinguished class. Ordinarily, our superintendent, Dr. Bodie, would be the one to take on this task, but she was not able to be here due to a long-standing family commitment. Despite her absence, she sends her best and wishes each of you continued success as you move on to your future endeavors. Although I have only been here for one school year, I've been very impressed with the spirit of this class. I'm sure many of you have achieved great things within the classroom, athletics, and other aspects of your high school career. But instead of focusing on those individual achievements, I would like to highlight two expressions of this class that struck me to be the most significant and important accomplishments of all. The first expression was the Unity Project. I was deeply moved by the building of this monument that highlighted the need for us to come together as a community despite our differences and backgrounds. At the time when I weaved my yarn into the Unity structure, I was the only one there. So I tried to envision the people who had weaved their yarn before me and those who would do the same after me. As I read the identifiers, I wanted to speak to someone who was different than me so I could understand their story and maybe get a glimpse of how they view the world. The second accomplishment is the hashtag #NeverAgainSchoolWalkout. I was impressed by the conviction and passion that I felt as each one of the student speakers expressed themselves during the rally. In the wake of the resounding, awful tragedy that took place in Parkland, Florida, this class took it upon themselves to be part of a student movement that continues to fight for student safety and an end to the sale of assault weapons. The common theme for both of these events is voice. Through each expression, you used your voice to highlight who you are as individuals and to fight for what you believe to be just and right. As you move on to your next chapter in life, it is my hope that each of you will continue to explore who you are as individuals, continue to connect and take care of those around you, and continue to use your gifts to change the world. As George Washington Carver once stated, education is the key to unlock the golden door to freedom. Thank you for listening, and I hope that each of you will achieve all that you dare to dream.
Thank you, Dr. McNeil. And now, Wilson Sosna and Elijah Vandermel will speak about their beloved friend and classmate, Jeremy Kramer McNeil, who passed away a few years ago. We will also present an in memoriam diploma to Jeremy's family. Wilson and Elijah, please come up.
Before I start, I'd like to congratulate the class of 2018 for its hard work and dedication through these long 4 years. We've gone through our fair share of hardships and nevertheless came out stronger, wiser, and ready to face whatever lay ahead. However, the reason I'm here is to say a few words about my dear friend, Jeremy Kramer McNeil. In addition to being an incredibly kind and thoughtful person, he played in the concert band, was an avid gamer, had a witty sense of humor, and most importantly, was a friend that I loved. I can still remember the day that I met him nearly 6 years ago. I'll never be able to fully appreciate the kind of friendship and joy he'd bring to us all until his sudden death 2 years ago. It was hard to believe that all the memories of friends playing tennis, eating pizza, and fooling around had come to a sudden end. Many months following his death was a dark time, but today, all those who have known him have grown stalwart, and instead of lingering in the past, decided to celebrate the life that he lived and move towards the future. We should all be thankful that a person like him was able to come into this world and change so many lives for the better, and touch so many hearts with his kindness and compassion. Words cannot describe how deeply he's missed by myself, his friends, and loving family. Going forward, I would ask all of us to remember Jeremy and the kind of person he was. If you were in this crowd today, the world would indeed be a very different place.
Let's please observe a moment of silence in memory of Jeremy Kramer McNeil. Thank you. And now our madrigal singers in rhythm section will perform Wish You Were Here by Pink Floyd.
So you think you can tell heaven from hell, blue skies from pain? Can you tell a green field from a cold steel rail, a smile from a veil? Do you think you can tell? Did they get you to trade your heroes for ghosts, hot ashes for trees, hot air for a cool breeze, cold comfort for change? Did you exchange a walk-on part in the war for a lead role in the cage? How I wish you were here. We're just two lost souls swimming in a fishbowl, year after year, running over the same old ground. What have we found? The same old fears. Wish you were here.
Thank you very much. That was beautiful. I am excited to present Olivia Grisefa, President of the Class of 2018.
Welcome, friends and family of the Class of 2018. I am incredibly grateful to be standing in front of you today, and I would like to thank the parents, families, friends, faculty, and community members who have been supporting our class for the past 18 years. More importantly, though, I want to thank all of you sitting in front of me today. I've said no to a lot of you a lot of times. Often it goes something along the lines of, no, we can't have free prom, or no, we can't have the senior cruise in the blue gym, or no, the Madrigals cannot sing Africa by Toto at graduation. It saddens me when student government says no, but I always love hearing your requests, your proposals, and your petitions because you care. You're passionate about your classmates, your school, and your community. You want to change the rules and you want to go against the grain. In my 4 years here, I've never seen this class be indifferent. That's just not us. It's not our class, and it's not our generation. We've become known as a very vocal group of young people. This year alone, our class has led the Arlington community in supporting initiatives like the Unity Project, Wellness Day, Inclusion Day, and a walkout against gun violence, amongst many others. Whether you organized a workshop for Inclusion Day or participated in the walkout, as seniors, we've set an example of social responsibility. We've cultivated an environment that acknowledges its shortcomings and strives to combat them. I'm proud to see the progress that this community has made in the past 4 years, and I'm proud that our community will continue this growth in the future. However, I'm most proud to be a part of this class. From day one, our class has had a reputation. I like to think we've had a good one. Unfortunately, in the past month, we've dealt with incidents that question the legacy we leave behind in Arlington. We've struggled with differentiating the voices of a few from the voices of many. However, in response to these events, our community has raised over $4,300, showing the true spirit of our class. I'm thrilled to announce these funds will go towards the Class of 2018 Grant for Inclusion and Diversity. This grant will allow student government and the administration to say yes a whole lot more. It has been a pleasure and an honor to represent all of you. Thank you and congratulations.
It is my pleasure to introduce Laura Kirchner, President of the Student Council.
I think I'll take the shorter microphone. I wish that I could say that over the past 12 years, I had gotten to know every single one of you. That we'd all known each other's names and faces and, I don't know, maybe social security numbers if anyone's offering. But there are almost 300 of us here. Some of us have never had classes together, and we've been completely unaware of each other's existence. And yet, somehow we've molded each other into the people we are today. Growing up, people used to tell me that you could learn something from everybody you met. And I always used to think how cliche that was. But every person in this school has had an impact on me. From my best friends to the people I waved at in the hall thinking they were my best friends. I really should be wearing my glasses. So thank you to the girl who complimented my dress on the day I woke up at 7:55. And to the kid who reminded me about the history test that I had completely forgotten about. Thank you to every student I used as a mark in the hallway to make sure I was going to the right class. Honestly, I wouldn't have made it this far without you. And now, here we're all one sea of maroon. Millions of students across the country are graduating high school, but no school is quite like ours. We as a class may be different from one another, but we all have this in common, this school. We all know the heat of the 5th floor in June. We know that at 11:19, long block ends and lunch block begins. And we all know that no matter what, you better have a pass to the media center and keep it to 4 people at a table. Now, people always say not to make graduation speeches cliche. But the cliches are true because they're built from universal experiences. And this is our uniquely universal experience. Arlington High School. So today, before we all race off to different parts of the country, take a moment to appreciate that one kid who always gave you a pencil in math, or that girl whose style you copied. This is the last time we will all be here together. We are Arlington High School's class of 2018, and we are each other's legacies. Thank you, and congratulations.
It is my pleasure to introduce Samantha Gentle, Vice President of the Class of 2018.
Our next speaker is a highly involved member of the Arlington High faculty and Arlington High community, Mr. Paul McKnight. Mr. McKnight is a well-admired English teacher, student council advisor, and dean who works tirelessly to create a tight-knit community consisting of unity, equality, and respect between students as well as faculty. In the words of one of his students, Mr. McKnight has been a great mentor and influence for 4 years, a very thoughtful and kind man. Through his dedication to student council and his positions as a teacher and dean, he has had one of the biggest impacts on the movement to create a more inclusive and diverse community here at Arlington High. His extensive list of positive qualities is what led him to be elected by our class as our faculty speaker. And it is my sincerest pleasure to introduce to you Mr. McKnight.
Thank you, Sam, for those kind words. And thank you, graduates of the class of 2018, for allowing me the chance to speak to you on this most special day. It means a great deal to be able to congratulate you all, to say how proud of you I am, and to offer some words at the conclusion of your time at Arlington High School. I really couldn't get started writing this speech until I made a list of all the students in this class that I've had the pleasure to get to know over the past 4 years. Those of you I taught in English class, those of you I've worked with in student council, those of you I've met incidentally along the way. It turned out to be a long, long list. And I realized that more than any other year, I had the distinct experience of having a great many of you as freshmen and juniors, of knowing many of you from the very first to the very last day of high school, and watching you grow into the young men and women you've become. As I made that list, I thought of the many hardships you have endured on this journey, the challenges you have overcome, some of them profound enough to put this day in doubt. It's not been an easy ride. Today was never guaranteed. Your arrival is all the more meaningful for it. For that, I am both grateful and proud of you. This graduation is especially meaningful for me as it marks the near conclusion of a 25-year career as a classroom teacher. The change comes with mixed emotions. I certainly hope that I'm not, in the ridiculously insightful words of Pink Floyd, exchanging a walk-on part in the war for a lead role in a cage. I do hope that the new role allows me to keep growing and to continue to serve the students of AHS in a community that I've come to consider a home. But I exit the classroom, never quite becoming the teacher I wanted to be, never quite living up to the awesome responsibility of that work. When I was new in this profession, I stumbled upon a book that was full of practical advice for beginning teachers. It's not the content of that book today that interests me, but the title. It was called Making the Journey, Being and Becoming a Teacher of English. Being and becoming. The author's point was that it was going to take many years, a whole career, to master the craft, to become an English teacher. At the same time, you've got a class full of students on Monday morning, so you better be some kind of decent teacher right now. This paradox of being and becoming resonates with me and describes a constant attempt to be a better teacher, if not a better person, each day. If I'm honest with myself and with you, my motives aren't always ones that I'm proud of. I'm quick to envy colleagues with more talent or integrity. I'm driven by a nagging insecurity that haunts me like a shadowy twin. Envy and insecurity just as often result in paralysis as they do in growth. Fortunately, I've been surrounded by colleagues and friends who have taught me by their example, by their actions and their words, how to harness those emotions to better instruct and care for you, our students. But in this pursuit of becoming someone else, I've often neglected the importance of just being. Living requires us all to both be and to become, a fact that can create a lot of conflicts in our lives. We recognize the importance of simply being when we speak of seizing the day, living in the moment, when we remind ourselves to stop and smell the roses, or the present, after all, is a gift. If it were so easy to just be, though, we wouldn't need quite as many reminders. For we are a culture that is driven to become, forever propelling ourselves forward. In the words of F. Scott Fitzgerald, tomorrow we will run faster, stretch out our arms farther. How often have we asked you to set goals, to plan for the future? Your parents might talk of 5 and 10-year plans. Meanwhile, from preschool through to nursing homes, we're practicing mindfulness and meditation. Most of you have spent a good deal of your time in high school preparing for college. And of course you had to. But I think we've forgotten that education is, in part, for living a good life now. Some of you have many more years of formal education ahead of you as you become prepared for a career. There's a whole lot of living, a whole lot of being to be done in the meantime. We emphasize being when we say be content with what you have, accept, even love yourself for who you are, and accept others in the same way. And yet you've been told you can do better, that you're not working to potential, that you should never stop improving, that there's always room for growth. It can be enough to make you crazy. Am I okay the way I am or not? What is a person to do with such contradictory messages? Well, do both in balance, I believe. Be yourself today. Be someone else. Be better tomorrow. Do the best you can with what you have today. Do better tomorrow and recognize perfection is almost always as it should be, beyond your grasp. This applies not only to individuals, but to groups as well. In your time at Arlington High School, there has been a lot of talk of community, what kind of community we are, what kind of community we aren't, what kind of community we are trying to become. You have had to wrestle with difficult questions of identity, of diversity, of inclusion, of belonging. Things have happened, and not just the things you may think I'm thinking about. People have done harm. People have been harmed. People have attempted to heal that harm. Conflicts have, at times, divided the class. Some have worked to bridge those divisions. Community is both a goal and the process by which we achieve that goal. A community is in a constant state of becoming, and even then, community is not and never will be harmony. I'm not condoning the most grievous injuries to the community, but we can use our failures to become a stronger community tomorrow. If this class has had its share of struggles to be a community, then perhaps it is just as true that no class has fought harder for the kind of community we want to become. We can recreate ourselves, our relationships, our communities, large and small, each day, if we so choose. And if we do not all yet feel a responsibility to do so, at the very least, I hope we can recognize what our role is. I cannot say whether tomorrow will be brighter than today, but I know that each and every one of you has the capacity to make it so. Thank you, and congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. McKnight. It is my pleasure to introduce our first honors speaker, Olivia Weiss.
When I was 10 years old, a walk down Mass Ave looked very different than it does now. We had Johnny's Food Master, where Whole Foods and its $12 pre-cut fruit now stands. Brigham's, a staple in my childhood, turned into an optometrist's office. We now have a crystal gallery. Homeowners are reselling their houses for triple the price they were purchased for. Arlington High School is preparing to be rebuilt. Arlington is changing. In our 18 years in this suburb that is best described as bordering the city that Harvard is in, the landscape around us has changed. Arlington has changed, Arlington is changing, but fundamentally, Arlington at its core will always be the same. We are still a town that values community, that has an active Facebook page where people offer their extra waffle batter and old dressers for free. We are still a town where families show up to support high school sports teams, where you see familiar faces every time you go to Stop and Shop. Arlington is a place where people come from different experiences but move here knowing they have a responsibility to the students they might never meet, to the parks they will walk through, to the history and generations that Arlington has seen, a responsibility to maintain their home from their own backyard to Robbins to Spy Pond. Just as Arlington has changed, all of us have changed and are still changing. I often cringe at the thought of my friends and I in middle school. Silly bands reaching 4 inches up our forearms, pink synthetic feathers strategically placed in our ponytails, NSYNC and JoJo were the staples of our very sophisticated music taste. Or at our first day at Arlington High, in utter confusion about why the Lynx were 30 degrees hotter than the rest of the school, or why we could carry our backpacks around and why no one touched their locker. Reflecting on these moments, who I was then, I think we were entirely different people. But truly, we aren't so isolated from our most vulnerable and self-conscious middle school or freshman year selves. We made the transition from insecurity-induced herd mentality to learning how to make decisions for ourselves, to understanding that each of those decisions defined who we were. And while we still make questionable fashion choices and listen to bad music at times, we have learned how to carry ourselves, learning how to be proud of who we are along the way. We are sitting in a moment of rapid flux, of big change. But as we approach this moment, what comes to mind is something Walt Whitman wrote. Do I contradict myself? Very well, then I contradict myself. I am large. I contain multitudes. Things have changed. We have changed. We are changing. But no matter how far we wander from who we think we once were to who we wish to become, at our core, the most genuine version of ourselves will remain. Each and every one of us is vast and contradictory, but that center, those values and beliefs and aspirations, shaped by the place we grew up in and love, will root us in all we have experienced while propelling us to all we have not. So, keep changing, keep growing. All of those changes in what we look like, who we love, what music we listen to, those are simply the multitudes we have always contained. Let them contradict each other, and know that you are still you and always will be. Explore your incongruity. Embrace your magnitude. Stay rooted in your past and open to your future. Feel comforted by the fact that you are fully and truly yourself, despite how far you think you have wandered from that person. We should move forward to our future plans and new friends and new home knowing that each person and place we encounter will change us, but that we are only becoming more and more ourselves along the way. Congratulations, class of 2018.
It is my pleasure to introduce our second honor speaker, Thomas O'Rourke.
I think this is now the taller mic. As I was deeply considering all of my points of reflection over our past 4 years together, I found myself in a very familiar mindset: frustrated procrastination. As many of you know, frustrated procrastination is a very rare strain of the disease, it being the confounding paradox of both wanting to do everything and nothing in the very same instance. So, as one does when confronted with an overwhelming and upsetting situation, I returned to a place of comfort, YouTube. There, after watching various videos regarding obscure conspiracy theories and, of course, the abominable snowman, I came across Boston College's 2014 commencement address, in which then Secretary of State John Kerry keyed in on the Ignatian principle of going forth in one's life and setting the world on fire, catalyzing profound change. This, my friends, echoes a sentiment that we have been hearing for a long time, and likely will continue to hear in years ahead. The idea being that we are the up-and-comers of society, and that it is our responsibility as individuals to forward great change. And while I think that we should all subscribe to this notion as a theory, I fear the consequences of embracing this mindset to its proposed extent. That is, by burdening ourselves with the over-consideration of our futures, I fear that we may lose what we have formed up to this point, namely, our relationships with one another. My friends, I ask you to remove those metaphorical shades of yours for just a moment and look around at your fellow graduates. First, admire their 13th century garb. Then, consider that today will be our last day together. Now, look at those very same people and consider how they have helped you along your path, whether that be with help on a simple homework assignment, a late-night study session, or perhaps most importantly, remedying the inevitable confusion that comes with trying to understand our school's scheduling system. Shout out Mr. McCarthy. So, we will move forward from today's ceremony, and we will all be faced with far greater responsibilities than these. And now, as graduates, whether we like it or not, we also meet our Ignatian responsibility to go out and change the world. So, when you leave here today and recognize all of this responsibility dangling right over your head, ready to crush you at a moment's notice, never forget to look to your side and thank those for being right there with you. Class of 2018, I am by no means saying that we should leave all of our future concerns and worldly problems to other classes of 2018. Rather, I'm simply asking you to cherish this moment, to take note of the faces that you see around you, and to deeply appreciate everything that we have done for each other. In fact, I will conclude by echoing both the points of Carrie and Ignatius. Do go forth and set the world on fire. Do catalyze great change. And do uphold strong moral principles in your day-to-day lives. But, in the process of doing so, recognize the fast-paced and problem-filled world that we live in, and always do so with time for reflection and thanks for those who have helped us along the way. Thank you, class of 2018, and thank you for helping each other along the way.
Now, our principal, Matthew Janger, and chair of the Arlington School Committee, Kiersey Allison Ampey, will present the diplomas to the class of 2018. This year, our readers will be Dean of Students Veronica Tivnan and Dean of Students Paul McKnight.
The first diploma, Olivia Graceffa.
Laura Rita Kirschner.
Samantha Gentle.
Gayatri Sundar Rajan.
Hannah Alton.
Sophie Adele Plotkin.
Wilson Lee Sosna.
Olivia Hart Weiss.
Elijah Vandermill.
Thomas Quinn O'Rourke. Linglong Lee.
Mia Acosta.
Jason Leong.
Supriya Adhikari.
Anthony Joseph Lepori.
Kiki Amaratitis.
Fiona Lascelle.
Catherine Anderson.
Gaia Letizia Lodovici.
Julia Angel.
Victor Joseph Lopes.
Maxime Renee Arano.
Francesco Renzi.
Sebastian Gabriel Gonzalez Arcura.
Ashby Jonah Lotion.
Jake Asarian.
Connor Alexander Lorenko.
Gabriella Awad.
Rachel Kathleen Line.
Kevin Bandar.
Roman McGuire.
Emma Bardet.
Veronica Mann.
George Alfred Barker.
Sean James Mahoney.
Rin Ricard Barr.
Timothy John Mahoney.
Gwendolyn Bearden.
Tatiana Juanita Malave.
Rebecca Pachetti.
Kristen Elizabeth Malloy.
Timothy Richard Beck.
Suraj Anand Malvo.
Charlotte Jean Bell.
Sarah Mangeli.
Rebecca Benjamin.
Carla Josephine Marambio.
Miles Donovan Bernhard.
Jacob Marini.
Tali Catherine Bears.
Juan Gabriel Martinez.
Lucio Antonio Bianchi.
Jay Massey.
Rowan Lee Bishop.
Dominic Michael Mond.
Adrian Hosley Black.
Linnea Caitlin McAllister.
Dominic Clancy Black.
Ian Paul McCabe.
Griffin Jeremiah Block.
Elizabeth Marie McCarthy.
Nathaniel James Bluen.
Jacqueline Lee McCarthy.
Carlos Daniel Bolke.
Nicole Marie Macalo.
Catherine Margaret Bonacci.
Cameron McElvenna.
John David Bowen.
Maxwell Fernald McCursey.
Jillian Boyajian.
Daniel Joseph McMenamin.
Oz Breton.
Gabe McNinch.
Catherine Brigham.
Kirsten Nicole Marr.
Allison Jean Britt.
Joseph Isaac Meltzer.
Nathan Brody.
Edith Inocencia Mendez.
Timothy Budding.
Eve Marie Michelle Meyer.
Aya Burton.
James Coffey Meyer Turkson.
Rocio Daniela Cabrera.
Sushant Majar.
Spencer Callahan.
Ian Charles Miller.
Carlota Calzolari.
Nell Whalen Miller. Close enough.
Kaylin Andrew Campbell.
Emily Clara Mancello.
Bridget Rose Carney.
Jessica Mandana Mojahed.
Catherine Margaret Carrier.
Lilibeth Brenda Morales.
Caden Spencer Casanave.
Arminder Kaur Moore.
Stephen Anthony Casada.
Adriana Moreno.
Javier Enrique Castillo.
Chloe Alice Morgenstern.
William Ward Kerr.
Keegan Towell Mosley.
Johnning Chen.
Sina Adam Monowar.
Paul Constantine Chin.
Karina Mosesian.
Henry Choi.
Kara Teresa Murphy.
Jackson Earl Clayton.
Nicholas Nikitas.
Lloyd Carr Cleary.
Skylar Rose Nyberg.
Alexandra Coates.
Annalie Ruth O'Brien.
Davis Jordan Coleman.
Catherine Margaret O'Brien.
Natasha Jane Coleman.
Kieran Francis O'Day.
Christopher Joseph Condi.
Brian Nathaniel O'Rourke.
Dana Connolly.
Maria Helene Oland.
Malaya Grace Conrad.
Ryan Willett.
Roisin Breed Coogan Pluck.
Jeffrey Pacheco.
Amanda Ann Coolidge.
Francesca Parisato.
Isabella Ann Constantino Carrigan.
Tobias James Pemsler.
Courtney Crowley.
Jack Edward Perrin.
Max Waita Q. Stein.
Ryan Perrin.
Amy Helena Cuniff.
John Robert Pescatori.
Brian Michael Cunningham.
Hughes Enel Pierre.
Kevin Vincent Cunningham.
Jack Albert Pinard.
Benjamin William Curcio.
Emma Wenglinski Platt.
Cully Curran.
Sheikh Prole.
Jennifer Lynn Curran.
Mary Raboy.
Bailey Page Davin.
Sally Stacklin Rademacher.
Rachel Nicole Davin.
Ashling Bridget Rafferty.
Charles Emmanuel Deacon.
Kyle Ramos.
Giovanni Devant.
Kendall Lee Riley.
Eleanor Demaray.
Abraham Baldessari Reese.
Parantha Dungal.
Philia Reeses.
Catherine Elizabeth Dix.
Sylvie Wickwire Remillard.
Noah Sophie Donlin.
Nicole Denise Resendez.
Caroline Teresa Dressler.
Elena Elizabeth Ritzkowski.
Rosalind Duffy.
Dylan Albert Rizzo.
Tyler Dyer.
James Barrington Robillard.
Abigail Karen Ewan.
Elizabeth Emma Rogers.
Danielle Nicole Fahey.
Julieta Marina Rossi Fortunati.
Catherine Elaine Fayola.
Mary Davenport Rowan.
Catherine Feeney.
Holly Marie Russell.
Benjamin Kenneth Fine.
Nathaniel Stedman Russell.
Megan Deirdre Finch.
Nick Samuelson Holly.
Nicholas Charles Alexander Finner.
Valeria Santangelo.
Edward Leroy Flanagan.
Anthony Dominic Santosuaso.
Julian Michael Flesh.
Nick Sao DeMeo.
Daniel Ryan Flynn.
Catherine Ann Schiller.
Emmett James Foster.
Beatrice Anna Jacqueline Schuller.
Lucas Anders Freeberg.
Kaylin Marie Scribner.
Vanessa Lee Frizzoli.
Maya Ashley Sears.
Ellis Anthony Guerin.
Sarah Lily Schaller.
Brendan Richard Gentili.
Grace Elizabeth Skian.
Alexandros Giorgio.
Joel Kendall Slobodnik.
Jacob Harris Giesman.
Emily Elizabeth Smith Kaufman.
Daniel Henry Gleason.
Kira Solive.
Matthew Neil Sanchez Gobel.
Lauren Springer.
Zachary Edward Goodhue.
Franz St. Just.
Anastasia Arpina Galopoulos.
Clara Lynn Stewart.
Sylvie Pearl Grodstein.
Brandon Daniel Sullivan.
Alexander Joseph Girton.
Bryce Catherine Sullivan.
Krista Marie Guidebeck.
Desmond Joseph Sullivan.
Joseph Hatchie Magliosi.
Adriana Jeanette Sutton.
Ayla Rose Hadley.
Alexander Eric Svensson.
Julia Madalena Heibel.
Amaya Victoria Thomas.
Anahit Haikobian.
Christopher Ty.
Riley May Hankinson.
Eric Ty.
Junie Huh.
Henry Tripp.
Michael Thomas Hedge.
Roberta Troccoli.
Lara Lillian Hermance.
Catherine Jane Euland.
Ione Schuyler Hyam.
Kenan Varney.
Nathaniel Mark Heitman.
Catherine Courtney Vitali.
Alexander Pennell Hughes.
Jonathan Lawrence Vogel.
Benjamin Tomasiek Hickey.
Marina Jane Wagner.
Carl Werner Hill.
Weichin Wang.
Benjamin Theodore Hoffinger.
Neela Joy Watson.
Shulan Joy Holmes Farley.
Kira Yuga Kennedy Weiss.
Brian Edward Hollowitz.
Lucy Ann Welch.
Benjamin Murphy Holt.
Kevin Roland Wicks.
Walter Michael Horgan.
Grace Catherine Willoughby.
Chloe Nu Hua Horn.
Claire Selena Sassy Wilson.
Sarah Paris Hyde.
Turner Yun Winkler.
Anna Talon Iskadarian.
Isabella Wolfsdorf.
Ethan Callahan Johnson.
Elijah Woods.
Andrew Johnson McDonald.
Tashani Warnham.
Marshall Jin Soo John.
Matteo Juvelli.
Adeline Jurgismeyer.
Nami Yamaguchi.
Atticus Holt Kane.
Layla Yeltikin.
Joshua Saul Katofsky.
Brendan Murphy Umel.
Alyssa Rose Kerbel.
Petra Elizabeth Ypsilantis.
Razmig Kasayan.
Julia Grace Zach.
Riley Priscilla Ann Keys.
Alexander Stavros Zanetis.
Isabel Cynthia Kilbride.
Jacob Alexander Zasla.
Victoria Angelina Kleber.
Maya Rose Zasla.
Robert John Kozlowski.
Joseline Rosario Melissa Zeeb.
Owen Edmund Kuklinski.
Ava Oriana Zaporin.
Ionis Artur Katroli.
Owen Zoe.
Sarah Ming Lau. And Megan Lorendo.
All right. On behalf of the class of 2018, I would like to announce that our class gift, we will be donating the remainder of our funds to the class of 2018 Grant for Inclusion and Diversity. This will give students, faculty, and community members the funds to start initiatives that will improve diversity and inclusion in the town of Arlington. And without further ado, class of 2018, you can move your tassel from the right to the left and throw your caps. Congratulations, class of 2018.